Alright, so UK's turn. Our goal is to continue to be a pain in the rear for Japan over here, who's stuck in two navies, and to keep adding up over here. We're going to keep our Karelia stack, and we're going to be looking to trade these. You can see Germany built into the Baltics here. He did build another bomber, so I do need to be mindful of that. So he now has 7 hitters there. I have no longer need for them in the Baltic, though. These fighters can't reach out here if I take both of these, and those fighters can't reach up to here. And if I take both of these, those fighters can't reach down to here. So 15, 8, and 3 only need to and 13 need to be prepared to defend 2 bombers. So that's what we're going to go with. We did have some extra money, so we got 7 infantry, 2 for India, 5 for up here, and next turn I'll take my AA out of here because I wanted to buy a sub for India. They do have 2 destroyers, so if he really wanted to wedge me out, he could put a destroyer in close enough where I have to misplace my 1 sub, so we're going to have a second sub. And we're also going to go ahead and purchase a fighter with the remaining money. We're just going to blitz on through there. We're going to crush this guy. Just making sure I can get to DEI because I plan on bringing my bombers down here to DEI where they can threaten both places. Don't need my fighters to do anything there. Okay, so we're going to come back here. Cruisers are going to go up here, so I can't use my cruisers, and that's okay. They're pointless anyways. Since he's trying to move up to the Baltics, we'll go ahead and relatively heavy stack France to make him have to come back this way. I think that's all of India, or excuse me, UK's attack. Looks good. Very good. I was going to say Northwest is important to take so that those fighters can't hit. So if I didn't take it, I was going to need to go ahead and devote a UK transport, or excuse me, a US transport to it. Now, theoretically, I could have sent 2 infantry to make sure that we captured this, and in hindsight, I was trying to, I could have used them to block the tanks, but I was counting, you know, what I needed to defend, to hold my spot sitting there on Burma, and I didn't want to go down to 5 infantry, but I didn't take into consideration that that was going to take two tanks out of the picture that I was counting. So it would have been smarter if I'd gone ahead and sent 2. Wish I had. Oh well, I didn't. But as is, it's a coin flip battle. He'd have to bring his transports into here. And if he brings his transports in here, then he's going to bring his fleet, and he's going to have my fighters, bombers, and sub have to deal with. That's 7 versus his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. So he's going to be putting them into the kill box if he comes down there. Nice thing with bombers here, if he goes ahead and takes this part of Austria, they can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we can take that back. If he comes over to either of these sea zones to try to kill West Australia, he'll be in the kill box of my my guys here. Actually, even 45 is really, the fighters are 1, 2, 3. Bombers can reach there, sub can reach there, so they're in the kill box if they go 45. 39, I'll have the 4 bombers and 2 fighters. There'll be 6 there. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's only got 4, so really anywhere in Australia is actually still in my potential kill box for the Navy and Air Force of UK there. So we're gonna move cruiser, destroyer. One there, one down here. Bring my carrier down. We'll land my other fighter there. Do want to make sure fighter before carrier on those for both him and for him down here. There we go. End of the turn. Okay, so we did manage to get Japan J5 to buy a destroyer, so he now does have 2 destroyers in this stack, making it a little bit bigger to match my sub that I built. I still think when I move my sub over during UK's turn, this fleet can't reach 61 yet, so between my 2 subs, my 2 fighters, and my 4 bombers, that's 8 attacking units. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so we will still outnumber by 2, so we'll still have a C-Zone 61 dead zone unless he uses his factory here to build ships down here, which he may. That may not make bad sense. So, meanwhile, I do need to be mindful of the fact that he's got these guys sitting in here, including 2 transports. Got to watch out. This transport is loaded, so I don't want to accidentally make the mistake and not realize that he's got 2 infantry there plus these 2, so he's got 4 infantry, fighter, bomber that can hit West USA this turn. I made this mistake a long time ago, not realizing that this C zone actually reaches West USA. You learn the hard way sometimes, and I learned the hard way that time. So we're going to make sure that we drop 5 infantry. We're going to leave the tank here, so we're going to have 6 infantry and the tank stay in here. And then meanwhile, we're going to build out elsewhere. He did, forgot with Japan, the rest of Japan, so he did attack these 2, conquered those, and then consolidated his forces down here in Sinking, right? Yep. So not a bad move for him to start trying to consolidate his units into one place. So I give him a good job there, and we'll continue. That's a good spot since we've kind of pinned his navy up here into 62. So it just makes it one more turn longer for units from Tokyo to reach the front line. But again, he only has 2 transports shucking here, and then he's got these guys. So that's what we're looking at. We're going to US's turn. So with the US, I did consider the fact I could take these 2, hit both of these, use these 2 transport, and hit these 2. And likely, if I did that, the fighters couldn't hit here, the fighters couldn't hit here. So I'd only need to protect versus 2 bombers in each of these, but I couldn't bring any more reinforcements if I did that, because I also need to protect that from 2 bombers, and it was just getting a little bit too thin for even my liking to do that. So we're just going to hit these 2 this turn and let Russia continue to take care of Ukraine for the time being. That all said, purchase, we're going 14 infantry and an artillery. We had no extra money this time beyond it, so we're putting 15 ground units to get onto transports and heading on over. Our total transport count, we are up to 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the factory over here in Norway. That's kind of what I like to be at. I like to be at 10 so that we've got 6 working the med, while 2 are working the fin plus the Norway factory. Now, if they do something that allows more work in the med, like they're heavily defending it, then I can bring other ones in there. But this is the setup I like to have. So I'm not planning on building any more transports at this time. I like to go with the 10. And that being said, as I was discussing, I like to start getting my transports coming from eastern Canada down to Morocco while ground units are marching their way up. Now, we're not quite going to be able to do that fully the next turn, I believe it is, but this turn we'll be able to do it. So I do like having that mechanic going there and just having that flow rolling. That way, when they do start to build too much air, which he's up to 7, so he's really starting to try to threaten this, I can quickly just pivot right over into the fin shuck those that were going to go to the Mediterranean. Or if I just need to not shuck to 13 for a turn, then they can shuck up to Finland. So I like that they can pivot either way off of this one. So it does cost a turn of development at some point as I build extra infantry to bounce back to, but I just find that to be a better place to be developing the med shuck and fin shuck so that you can go either way. All right. So here in the Mediterranean, we gotta be careful. We don't want to use the units that are already advanced. We want to use the units that are farthest away. So we're gonna pick up these guys, and I think I'm just gonna use one in there for the time being. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because I plan on sending one of my fighters on up there, one fighter with my carrier out here, and we're going to bring the battleship and the cruiser into the action. So that leaves me 4 units here that I can still use the 2 transports in here on, plus my 2 transports coming in with 4 units, so I would have actually 8 units that I could attack with. Up here, seems a little bit of a waste of a tank, but since this stack is mostly Russians up here, we're just going to use the US to go ahead and trade this guy instead of spreading the Russians out too thin as they got Japan starting to get on their front side there. Go cruiser. At least the battleships are worth them. Woohoo! No losses. Nice. Nice. So one of the things I want to point out, a lot of you already know this, but some people are newer to the game. You know, one of the big things about taking Italy and Karelia again is that it leaves him only 10 production spots, so he can only build 10 units. And here I'm trading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 territories with Germany. So they're going to want to they have to send at least 1 ground and some air, and ideally they're going to want to send 2 ground when they can, or like this time they sent 3 ground over here. So if he's building 10 units and spending 12 units of ground at a time to get them, then his overall number is just dwindling down. So that's the goal with the med shuck and all this trading, is just make them trade maximally all over the place and dwindle their units until you find the opportunity to make the big landing in France or push your way in through the Baltics, and make the grand finale kill of Germany then. So we are going to move destroyer, carrier, 1 fighter will be my defense versus 2 bombers there. Gonna move one fighter up here. Keep that fighter up there. And we got our battleship cruiser as our defense down here versus the two bombers. We're gonna move this guy. I kind of wanted to send him up here because this is a more weakly defended, but I also want to have him here so that we can send the destroyer carrier, or at least the carrier, back in loaded into the sea zone here next turn if we want for the fighter usage. Move this guy on over one. Move these guys over. And we're gonna go 1, 2, all of you guys coming over. 1, 2, 3 transports up there, so we want to make sure there's 6 guys there. Here's our 6 guys to go up there. Which means we can leave these. We're going to drop 5 in here. That leaves a 2-man into Alaska. If they drop one guy in there, of course, if they drop multiple transports, they'll be able to hold it. And then I'll have to beef up units coming over, delay the shock, and build in West USA. But we're in a good shape if he does anything along those lines. And again, the big thing there is if he makes an Alaska move, that's less Japan units going onto the mainland. So, all right. Two. I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Puts 8 in here. So I've got 5 transports coming back, so that would be 10. If he doesn't take Alaska, that'll be 9 and 10 going into there and will be good. If he does take Alaska, then we'll just bring one of the transports back here for going back next time. And as you can see, like I said, into round 5, things are collapsing for Germany pretty hard. He does still have a lot of big hitters in there, though, so we still got a while till we completely wear him out. And we still got a handful of our artillery out there, so we're just going to max out our infantry build. Actually, you know what? I decided we're going to be greedy. And again, I am going a little bit heavy in these trades with Germany because I have the upper hand and I can't. Ooh, and I can go heavy on the trades. There we go. And things like that happen, so it's a good thing we went extra heavy on the trade. No! 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 Oh well. I was greedy. Thought about sending the 2, but it's a 1 IPC territory, and we got to remember Russia is on the defensive, so it seemed a bit much to send for that one up there. Maybe I should have just leveraged the fact of my advantage and gone ahead and sent the two and played a little heavy. But I'm already playing heavy with the Germans, so I gotta be a little bit careful what I'm doing here. I need to look back at my notes real quick here. Let's see. So we got 17-3. I want to have 4 tanks there ultimately. So that's 2, 3, 4. These 2 will come on down here. I think I'll leave the 2 infantry because that means he'll have to send a tank into there if he wants it. He'll probably just walk around, I would think. Do want to go ahead and move him over here. And let me double check my counts on how we're looking over here. We plan on moving the UK tank in there and maybe a fighter and we'll be covered. So we just got to remember our UK reinforcements into there. Just to beef that up so that we've got a good solid stack still. Now, one of the things you got to watch out for when you start getting into this is the can opener into Moscow. So he does have his 2 bombers here that can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Clear these 2, land them, and then send his 4 tanks, 2 fighters, and a bomber into there. Those are possibilities. And actually, you know what? I'm just going to be a little bit safer and bring him back. But on the flip side of that, if he sends his 2 bombs to clear there, I can still send 2 tanks, my fighter, let that go up as an okay battle. These fighters can't reach. But I could send all 4 of my bombers into there as, you know, prattle if I wanted to. So we can move some UKs in there if we need to, but we gotta be careful. We don't want to lose out the Moscow stack. But at the same time, I want to make sure I'm going to be able to trade Ukraine when he uses his 2 infantry there. So I do want 2 infantry here, 2 infantry here. My other 5 are going to go in here, and then we'll have the other build-ins if we want it. But I really do think we'll have enough of a build here, plus enough UK that we can move in that I feel safe with that. We will end this phase. Do want to put 2 in there, but we're only going to put 2 here for potential trading, and then the rest into Moscow. And there we go.